Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and today I'm going to be coming to you with another haul. I don't know, maybe I'll title this my summer haul, but I technically haven't filmed a haul since April. Probably not going to be seeing this for a while because I technically have a haul halfway edited that I haven't touched in months that I still need to put up, which is irritating, but these books have just been stacking up and driving me nuts, so I want to do this haul while I have some time. So much for keeping control of my book buying and TBR stuff. Oh well. I have a fair mix of both new and used books. Quite a few more new books than I'm used to, but there's a reason for that. A little bit of a story. And I'll just get into it. So the first book in this haul is Daisy Jones and the Six. Is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was an incredibly popular, hyped book that came out, I believe, in March. And I was a little resistant to purchasing this because I haven't actually read anything by Taylor Jenkins Reid yet. I stumbled across this at a thrift store. There was like 6 of them in a row and I was like, what? And it was $1, so super excited for that because I had been tempted to purchase this. This follows a band that I believe in either the 60s or 70s, and it's like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, that kind of stuff. Apparently it's supposed to be super emotional. A lot of people really loved it. I also picked up Unearthed by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I found this used, and this is a book I've been interested in because I believe it's a sort of Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider-y type of series, but it's also sci-fi. I believe there's a like studious boy and a scavenger girl that come together because they got an alert from a planet that's supposed to be long like dead. Sounded interesting to me. Got excited because this is also, I think, somewhat recently reviewed. With that, I also grabbed The Blinding Knife by Brent Weeks. This is the second book in the Lightbringer series, the first book being The Black Prism. I am excited for this series, but also a bit nervous because I've heard it's a bit sexist, but it's a high fantasy adult series that the magic system essentially all has to do with light and like the light spectrum, but I believe also the more they use their powers, the shorter their lifespan is, which is super cool. I always get excited when I see sequels at the thrift store too because they're very rare to find. I also found The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and The Restaurant at the End of the World by Douglas Adams. This is an iconic sci-fi series. I think it's a quartet. On the back it says Volume 2 in the Trilogy of 5. So this is supposed to be an absolutely ridiculous sci-fi series that's supposed to be very amusing. A lot of people hold this near and dear to their hearts, and these are the editions that I've been looking for. I love them. I've got the blue sprayed edges and I've like eyeballed them at Indigo all the time, so happy to have these. The next book I grabbed was a pre-order. It's Mason Deaver's I Wish You All the Best. This is a story about a non-binary teen named Ben who comes out as non-binary to their parents and then is kicked out. They then are forced to move in with their sister and their sister's husband. I believe the familial relationship has been very, very strained, and whilst Ben goes to a new school, they aren't actually out as non-binary. They start falling in love with Nathan, and this is supposed to be a very heartbreaking and heartwarming and very lovely story. This is an Own Voices story, and I'm a little bummed I haven't yet read this story. I'm glad to have it in my possession. It's rather short, so I'm excited to dive in. So the next series of books I'm going to haul, I got new, but I also got them for free because my bookstore Indigo has this reward system and I've been saving points for so long. And then one day I woke up to an email saying, we've topped up to your points. You have $100 in rewards. I jumped at the opportunity. It was so weird to just be able to buy whatever I want and be like, yeah, this one, I'll put you in my cart. It was super odd. The first book I grabbed was On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This is Angie Thomas's sophomore novel. It follows Bree, who really, really wants to be a rapper and make it big and take her family out of the situation they're quite impoverished. She also lives under the shadow of her father, who was a very renowned underground rapper, but was killed before he had the opportunity to make it very big. I talk about this book more in depth in my July wrap up. It was incredibly great. I was a little nervous that I wouldn't love it as much as The Hate U Give, but I also gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. I grabbed Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. I also talk about this in my July wrap up. This is the first book in an adult high fantasy series about this young girl who is a street urchin, a thief. She has the ability to place her hands on an object and read it and see what it sees and what it has experienced in the recent past. She takes a job that will pay to drastically improve her lot in life, but she gets wrapped up in the politics of the merchant houses in this city, and she has to do a bunch of stuff. I don't want to give any more away. This is an incredibly unique story. I really loved the world. I loved the elements of science in here. Also featured in my July wrap up. I'm not going to talk about what I loved about it. I did enjoy the story. I do recommend it if you're interested in high fantasy. One of the books that I have not read out of that stack is Love from A to Z by S.K. Lee. I plan to read this in the month of August. I don't know if I will have read it by the time this goes up. This is a young adult contemporary novel that focuses on our two characters. Zainab gets suspended from school for speaking out against her xenophobic teacher, and Adam, I believe, was diagnosed with MS and is dealing with that but has not yet told anyone. And these two come together, and it's supposed to be a really sweet love story, and I'm excited to read this. I really enjoyed S.K. Lee's first book, so I have high hopes for this book. A lot of people really like it, so I'm excited. Second last book in my sort of free stack was With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I was kind of kicking myself for not pre-ordering this and picking it up right when it came out, because Elizabeth Acevedo wrote The Poet X, which is one of my favorite books of all time. This is also the most beautiful book I've ever seen in my life, and it follows a teen mom who desperately wants to become a chef, and she's balancing being a teen, being a mother, but also having career goals. And I want to hear everything that Elizabeth Acevedo has to say. Final book out of my new stack is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. I've also talked about this a lot recently on my channel. This is a YA high fantasy that is inspired by ancient Arabia. I don't actually remember too much more about the synopsis, but I've been anticipating this book since 2017. I also should be reading this in August. Wow, I'll really be exposing myself if I don't get to these reads. But I am so excited for this. So excited, in fact. I also got We Hunt the Flame in my Owl Crate. It kind of slipped my mind that this would be coming in the Owl Crate because, oops. But this is the Owl Crate edition, and now I have 2 editions of a book I haven't read, which I don't do. While at another thrift store, I stumbled across the first 5 volumes in the Amulet series by Kazuo Kibushi. I always forget his last name. This, I believe, is a middle grade graphic novel series, and I was just so excited to see so many. I like graphic novels, but I don't read them as often as I would like. So I was happy to find multiple in a series. Damn, my wallet really must have been hurting because I purchased so many new books. I know those don't count, but damn. I also picked up Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. The hype got to me. I decided, you know what, let's do it. So I purchased it and read it right after. This is a male-male romance between the Prince of Wales, first son of the American president. I've talked about this a lot on my channel, and so has BookTube. I really enjoyed this. I think I talk about this in my June wrap-up. I also managed to find A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. I found this used, which is kind of ironic because when I went to buy Red, White, and Royal Blue, I had an employee talk to me about this for about 5 minutes, and I was like, I get it. I know you really, really like this, but I'm here for a reason for a different book. And then I stumbled upon this 3 days later. This is a historical fantasy series that follows a woman who I believe wants to be some sort of scientist related thing, probably a scientist in regards to dragons, but she is not respected because of the time period. I also thought this was a standalone, but I'm sadly mistaken. This is like a 5-book series, so who knows when I'll get to that. That's not high priority. I also found Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is the adult edition iteration of these books. I've been slowly collecting them. I have 1 and 2 as well. As much as I have a very like strange relationship with J.K. Rowling and her views, I guess I still am a Harry Potter collector at heart, and it doesn't hurt that this money doesn't actually go to her because I found it used. I also grabbed Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Everyone. This is a bunch of short stories that take place, I believe, after the Dark Artifices series. I'm Cassandra Clare trash, essentially. Anything she puts out, I'm gonna pick up and read. Call it nostalgia, whatever. I still enjoy her stories. I'm excited to get to that, but for short stories, it's 660 pages, which is nuts. So my owl crate for that month was Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I have been seeing a lot of really good buzz for this story. It is a young adult fantasy standalone that focuses on this girl who I think gets framed for some sort of crime, and then she has to partner up with a person in society that is not appreciated. I can't quite remember, and she discovers not all what she knew is correct, and I think there's a magical library. I also stumbled across P.S. I Still Love You and Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jenny Han. These are the last 2 books in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy. I liked the first one but didn't love it, but when I found these for like $1 each, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna pick them up. I also really didn't like the audiobook for P.S. I Still Love You. I actually DNF'd it very early in the year, so I'm excited to have it in print. I'm going to read them probably soon because we're probably getting the second movie soon, right? Ooh, I also was super excited to find Difficult Women by Roxane Gay. Roxane Gay is a renowned feminist who I greatly admire, so when I found one of her books for cheap, I snatched it up. I'm not particularly the most interested in nonfiction, but the kind of nonfiction I'm interested in is feminist, specifically intersectional feminist nonfiction, so yeah, happy to have this in my hands. I also picked up Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This, I believe, is either a classic or a modern classic. I can't tell you a damn thing about this book other than the fact that this is a lot of people's favorite book and a lot of people's favorite classic, so I found it used, so I guess I just grabbed it. I also am very happy to have found The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I have been slowly collecting and reading some Neil Gaiman recently, and this is the specific editions that I very much like. I believe this follows a young boy who was raised by ghosts in a cemetery, and that's all I know. I'm realizing I really, really like Neil Gaiman's writing. His stories don't always, and plots don't always quite do it for me, but his writing is what keeps me going back. So I'm excited to have another one of his books. We're almost to the end. I think I have like 6 or 7 more books. I'm getting tired. I also managed to find the Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, and now I can't remember what it's about. I believe this is about this like either writing group or acting troupe in college, and then like someone gets murdered. Yeah, I'm giving you the synopsis for not The Goldfinch, but her other book. I can't tell you what The Goldfinch is about right now. My bad. I've been needing to read Donna Tartt's books. They're incredibly hyped. I'm interested to see where I fall on the spectrum of liking Donna Tartt's stories, but I'm pretty sure there's an adaptation coming out about this one. Or her other book. I can't remember. Whatever. I also, on a whim, just decided to pick up Sawkill Girls at full price at my local bookstore. I have been wanting to get my hands on this book for so long. This follows a series of girls living on this remote island called Sawkill Rock, and then there is this like monster that is slowly kidnapping and killing young women, and then this group of girls decides that they don't want that happen anymore, and they go to hunt down this monster. This is supposed to be maybe a little paranormal, maybe a bit of horror. It's supposed to be super queer, and I'm thrilled for this book. I also grabbed Bitter Blue by Kristen Kishore. I very quickly got to pop into the physical book outlet store. They were doing renovations for the first few weeks of July, and I was down in that area right when they opened, and I was like, I'm gonna pop in and look. And I had like 10 minutes to look, found this one, and I now realized that even though this book is a part of a companion series, this is technically the third book in the companion series, the first book being Graceling. So, oops. I also very excitedly found The Power by Naomi Alderman. I've been intending to read this book for so long. Was so hyped for so long, and it didn't come out, I think, in North America for a while. It was out in the UK first, and so many people were talking about it. It's won awards. It was basically an alternate history story where at one point in time, women under a certain age developed the ability to electrify people with just like touching them. Basically upsets the patriarchy, and I'm excited and interested to see how this works. With The Power, I found Magician's Land by Lev Grossman. This is the third book in the Magician's trilogy. I now officially own the entire trilogy, and I'm excited to read them because I also want to watch the sci-fi series. I don't entirely know what this is about, other than it's about magicians. It's set in a school, and magic is supposed to be stupidly hard. My owl crate for July was Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This is a fantasy that follows a woman who wants to be the king's tailor, but I guess women aren't allowed to do so in said society, so she dresses up as a boy and enters this competition. I've seen quite a few decent reviews of this book. The cover is stunning. The most exciting book for me in this entire haul is my most anticipated release of the year, and that's The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is the sequel to The Poppy War, one of my favorite books of last year, and it's unreal that I have this in my hands, and it's killing me that I can't quite pick this up right this very second. I have a review of The Poppy War to film. I recently reread it in preparation for The Dragon Republic. And once I have that review posted, I get to dive into this, and I am dying. This book also is a bit deceivingly large. This is like over 650 pages, but I can't wait. Anyway, that is it for my fairly large book haul. I hope to catch up on these and stop putting them off for so long, because this is too many to haul in one go. Let me know of any of the books that I hauled here today. Are there any specific ones that you recommend? But as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!